Alright, my friends, welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and there seems to be a major disconnect between console gamers and PC gamers, and, well, at least with console gamers, talking about PC gaming and stuff. So I've noticed this over the course of my experience with gaming on PC, and that is people expecting PC to just be like this. Oh man, like if a game comes out, it's just gonna run it at like maximum settings and all of this stuff. And I did the same thing myself, man. Like when I bought my PC, my first PC, that pre-built, I was expecting, because I'm paying 3x the amount of a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox, that it's going to provide 3x the power. And that is simply not exactly, well, that's not the case. That's never been the case. It's always been more of a there's different, there's a, like my good buddy Doc would say, there's levels to it. So I want to break down some more misconceptions about price versus performance, what you're getting when you upgrade and buy a PC. Now, the console experience, and dude, I've been playing console for 38 years. And now I'm, been on the PC for a couple of years. I was taking it slow at first because I didn't really understand a whole lot of it. But now that I'm in the swing of things and it finally clicked for me, I understand why. PC dudes are always like, man, you console guys don't know what you're talking about. And it's true. There's You're not going to buy a PC, take it home, and play it like a console. That's just not how PCs work. I mean, can you emulate a console on a console experience on a PC? Abso-freaking-lutely you can. You can 100% emulate a console experience on a PC, but that would just be selling yourself short. You are, in fact, going from... So... Let's look at it from this point of view. A PC is where developers build games to play on a console. So, I mean, if you look at... You have to look at PC in a different light before you make these assumptions that PC is just... There's too much issues to worry about and all of that. So let me explain the console ecosystem from my point of view, as of playing on consoles and playing on PC now for a couple of years. The console experience is a curated, half-baked, somewhat PC that is just some parts that are strung together, and they put an operating system on there, and then everything has to fit inside this little framework, this little box. The developer gets the opportunity to either push the graphics, maybe push the performance a little bit, or make a balanced experience and kind of just, push both as much as they can. And they try to inevitably get as much power and performance out of the console framework as they possibly can. And so that means that, taking into PC, they build everything on the PC, but then they scale everything down and make it, and they just try to fill in as much of that area as possible to get that game running. Now, if you take an experience like Starfield, okay? Starfield, obviously, Bethesda, they specialize in building PC games. That's always been their thing. They were they were building PC games before they ever started making games on console, and then they started bringing the Elder Scrolls over to the console, and it blew up over there. But is what happens is, like, right now, they finally made it so that you're going to get a 60 FPS experience over on Starfield on your Xbox Series X. And I've already seen a lot of discourse about this today. People saying, "Oh man, it's messed up." But I mean, me personally, I think it's just because they're getting ready to put it on PlayStation, so they had to put a 60 FPS mode in there so they could ship it to PlayStation, because PlayStation games only come with 60 FPS mode, so they had to bend the knee to make it work on the PlayStation 5, and then the Xbox guys are just going to get a little bit of taste of that 60 FPS. When it comes out on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox. I'm just joking. Don't get all... So, at first, when they brought out Starfield, and here's the thing. they pushed that thing as hard as they could visual wise. I mean, when you look at Starfield on the PC versus Starfield on the Xbox Series X, it's pretty dang close at max settings. I mean, there are some settings that are higher on PC, of course, obviously, but it looks dang good on the Xbox Series X. So what the developers will do is they will push the max that they can in the framework that they can and try to deliver the best experience possible. And sometimes that leads to a lot of people being upset. Especially with, the promises of, 4K and 60 and all of this stuff. Those marketing words, those buzzwords get people riled up. They get people excited. They get people hyped. I was hyped when I went over to Xbox Series X and PS5. I was pretty dang hyped. I was like, yeah, we're going to get 4K and blah, blah, blah and 60 and we're going to get, PC-like consoles. And I even touted that stuff a lot during the beginning of this channel and this console generation, because I really did think that we were finally getting basically entry-level PCs. And that is the case. That is the case. The PlayStation 5 and Series X are probably the most advanced consoles that we've ever had in terms of at least being closer to PC. And they both are. And now if you look at that, and I think the reason why Bethesda and Todd Howard were like, yeah, we better get him a 60 FPS mode, is because, dude, I've been running... you can run that game is very scalable. Very scalable. I mean, I can get 60 FPS on a ROG Ally. So if I can find a way to get 60 FPS on a ROG Ally, there's definitely some scalability in Starfield to be able to put out a 60 FPS mode. Now the question is, after the cuts that I have to make on the ROG Ally or even the 7600 XT, which is basically my 1080p card for the PC platform. There's so much scalability in that game that you can mix and match settings and you can get a solid, stable 60 FPS experience no matter what you're using, whether you're on the ROG Ally, whether you're on the 7600 XT. Now, a lot of that is going to be some of the settings and resolution coupled with, using some upscaling and some other things to be able to get that experience. Now, is what happens is these games for console are built for the console in a way that they're going to, that it's going to run the same on every console, or it's going to, have whatever nips and tucks to certain things that are going to give you the overall best image quality versus stability that you can get out of the hardware out of your Xbox Series X and S. Now that's not bad. That actually works in favor for a lot of different people when you have something that is pretty much uniform across the board. Everybody that buys an Xbox will get the same experience. Vice versa with like the PlayStation or something, you're going to get the same experience and you're going to be able to enjoy that and have fun. And you pretty much just get whatever experience you're going to get out of that. But the thing is, my friends, and the whole difference that PC is compared to what you get at the console, the console is just a curated experience that you pretty much get what you get, and you're either okay with that or you're not. Well, see, the PC experience is completely different from that. And I hear this misconception all the time that you got to go out and spend $3,000 on a PC to do this or that or whatever. If you go out and you spend $3,000 on a PC and you buy like top end hardware, I mean, yeah, your experience is going to be good. But here's the fallacy, and here's the thing that everybody that I don't think a lot of people understand is you don't need that much power to run these games. You don't, and you can 100% equal or exceed the PC or the console budget at right around $1,000. Like $1,000 will get you a competent PC that will meet or exceed the console experience in every way, shape, or form. Like it really is just that much of a a misconception that you need to spend so much money on PC to get like the console experience or to get better than that. So here's the thing. With most PC games, and like I was just talking about the scalability over on Starfield, obviously there's a lot of scalability in that game to be able to push that in any way you want to. Well, as when you come over to the PC side, you get different settings. You know, usually they start with like a low, or sometimes they start with a very low, medium, high, ultra high, or and then sometimes it even pushes further into like extreme or unobtainium or some other setting that is forward thinking for more powerful hardware down the road. And so you get all of that day one on your PC experience when you buy that game. So you pay $70 for the game on console, and you get whatever the console manufacturer or the developer decides to use that for. On PC, even on your $1,000 PC, you get, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, possibly 6, possibly 7 different types of, and these are just presets that will curate an image quality for you and try to do the best to manage that performance. So most of the time it's like 5 settings. I've seen some that are as low as 3. They got like a low, medium, and high. Like some of the older games, like if you're playing like 360 generation, you might only have 3. But nowadays with these newer games, there are so many different levels of preset, and each one of these presets are calculated for different types of hardware so that they can run certainly well. So say you get on your game and you pick like, okay, I want medium settings. And then you notice like, okay, well, I'm on medium settings. I'm getting like 200 frames a second. I don't necessarily need 200 frames a second. But then you can go down from the medium and you can look and you'll be like, okay, well, oh, look at that vegetation. I want some more vegetation. So you click that button over to high. You go from medium to high. And then you look at that and you're like, wow, man, I still got like 180 frames a second, And so then you start getting excited. You're like, okay, what else can I do? Because say I just want to be able to have 120 frames a second. I mean, I guess we could say this is at 4K. Say you're at 4K. Most 4K TVs have max out at 120 frames a second. So you're already on your 4K and you're at medium settings and you've got 200 frames a second. Now you get to decide what other settings you want to change to try to lower the frame rate to be within your window on your TV, your 120 FPS, refresh rate for your VRR, FreeSync, whatever enabled display. So you can play around with those settings and play with them to where you can get better visual quality. And then you start to see your frame rate go down a little bit just by flicking on different things and seeing how different settings work. But you always have that baseline setting of low, medium, very low, medium, whatever. You always get like this baseline setting that you can start from as a preset. You can just select one, or you can just, most games, when you get into some of these, they automatically just, they scan your hardware and they're like, all right, this is what and it'll automatically set stuff for you. You don't even really have to get in there to play around with settings. But that's the thing, my friends. You get to curate your experience however you want from day one. You don't have to wait for a developer to come out 8 months later with a patch that's like, oh yeah, we made it so you can have 40 FPS or 60 FPS with VRR, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to wait for that. You get that immediately day one. And $1,000, like an entry-level PC for $1,000 that is going to meet or exceed the expectations or the performance that you get out of a PS5 and a Series X, that's essentially like spending, like buying both. And if you spend $1,000 on a PC, guess what? You get to play both. You get to play Xbox games and PlayStation games on your PC now. So $1,000 entry-level PC that will actually play both games. It's essentially like buying a PlayStation 5 and a Series X. You're literally just buying a better one that gives you more choice, one that gives you more freedom to be able to play how you want to play or what you want to play on. So I say $1,000, you know, for a minimum. I mean, for a minimum spec PC that should at least perform as good or and a little bit and mostly better, and give you the ability to like switch around things. But the best thing is with the consoles, you're going to get settings like dynamic resolution. You also have that on PC. So if you're playing a game, so say you buy your PC. You know, you go out and you spend your money, you get yourself a nice mid-range TV or mid-range PC, and you know, you spend $1,500 to $2,000. That mid-range PC is literally going to last you the whole generation. The whole generation. The only real problem you had in PC in since I've been a PC gamer is the 3000 series GPUs from Nvidia. A lot of them, you know, like a 3070 absolutely blows the doors off of these two consoles, but it's gimped by the VRAM. The 3080, still, you know, 10 gigs, a little bit closer, but it's still kind of gimped by the VRAM, at least at 4K, stuff like that. But you can utilize things like FSR, DLSS. You can utilize dynamic resolution. Like you can use dynamic resolution scaling to be able to, you know, do whatever you need to do with that. You can lower some of the settings, stuff like that. You can still literally use a 3080 on 4K today by playing with a few settings. And you'll be able to pretty much probably do that throughout the rest of this generation, consistently exceeding the experience that you would get on a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. Because that 3080 10 gig that I had, it is what was it, like 29 something teraflops of compute power, which is pretty close to whatever they're going to bring out as a PS5 Pro. Like that card will still be on par with a freaking PS5 Pro if they really do that. Like if they really do that. And then, you know, you look at the experience across the thing, and this is why I think I understand, you know, like where PC gamers are coming from, is because it's kind of, once you go PC and it clicks and you understand how the process and how things work, and then, you know, you start to look at just how much longevity you can get, and it really is going to depend on the games you play. If you're like me and you're playing every single new game right when they come out and stuff like that, yes, you might find yourself in a situation to where you're like, oh man, I might need to upgrade more frequently. But if you play, like, say, a certain type of game, and that's the only game you play, usually those games, they stay pretty consistent with performance across the board. And then you can, like I said, you could play with some of them settings. You can dial some stuff down. You can flip on, dude, just flipping on dynamic resolution scaling usually solves the problem. If you want to play at ultra settings, all of that, flip on dynamic resolution scaling, and it still looks 100 times better than it does on the console with the way dynamic resolution scaling is implemented on the PC game, because you still have control over all of your other settings. So you can use all those settings, flip on dynamic resolution scaling, and then you'll see, like, you still don't even see it. Like you won't notice it as much as you would notice on like the consoles. It's a completely different experience, my friends. When you finally realize that there's just so much more that you can do on a PC versus what you can do on a console, I think, you know, guys, I think it kind of changes you a little bit in terms of like your gaming habits. Because if I was, you know, you turn on your console, you sit 8 feet away from your TV, you play your games, and you have fun, whatever, you know, you learn how to adjust your play style to the frame rate and how the game plays, and you get used to it, and you're able to play it. Like, we've been doing this as gamers for a long time, especially as console gamers. Well, on PC, it's different. You are going to probably be sitting closer. Yes, you can absolutely hook your freaking PC up to your 4K TV and you can sit 8 feet across the room, but you don't, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like the more you go toward PC, the more you are going to gravitate to a monitor and desk setup. I think that's only natural. And you might be thinking like, oh man, I don't want to sit at a freaking desk and play video games. I mean, like, either way you look at it, dude, you're still sitting on your butt. You're still sitting in front of a TV. What kind of experience do you want to have at the end of the day? I'll tell you, after as long as I've played consoles, and I sat there on a couch, across some TVs, playing it, getting used to these games, versus the way it feels to play the games that I play now. And even going back, guys, I've been doing that a lot. I've been buying a lot of the older games that I was like, okay, I like that game, but I want to see how it feels now. And it's absolutely night and freaking day, the way the games look, the way the games feel. And I'm like, wow, dude, I wish I would have done this sooner. I wish I would have taken the time and shown more interest in PC gaming a lot sooner. Because now, with Microsoft and PlayStation pretty much bringing out entry-level PC platforms for their consoles, it's a lot more inevitable now that people are going to go to PC after this console generation. And I think this is going to be one of the console generations that has the most, or the biggest, exodus of gamers going over to PC. And that's not a bad thing, my friends. That's not a bad thing. If you look at it and you really go back and you really look at it and you see the stagnant, receding growth of the consoles as each generation goes on, it's a lot of the newer gamers just don't care to have a console. It's almost embarrassing to, for them to be a console gamer. You know what I mean? Like my daughter, she's all right with the Xbox, and Junior, he is too. But there's like this greater tug for the younger generation. The ones that are just under them, that are younger. They've got these games like Roblox that are Roblox that is kind of like a dumb game. Me personally, I think it's a dumb game, but these kids love it. And you have experiences like that you could play on a phone, you can play on a tablet, that you can play here. And most kids are getting handed tablets as opposed to consoles these days. And they're having to do that. There's just not as much hype over consoles like there used to be. And then when you hear all of the fighting and negativity and pushback against, the stupid fanboys that ruin everything, why would anybody care about a console, man? Like, why would anybody care about consoles? You look at the game like Roblox and you're playing that and you're like, it looks good on my cell phone. Why would anybody care if it's a little bit better? You can buy a tablet. That comes with the screen, the processor, everything all right there in a tablet. Why would they want to go buy a freaking TV for their kids, a freaking Xbox, pay for freaking online gameplay, all of that stupid stuff, just to freaking for them to play a game like Roblox, a free-to-play game? You got to understand the market and why the market's changing and how the market's changing. Nobody cares about that stuff. But people need PCs for work. There's other alluring things that PC offers that the consoles are just don't offer. They're too closed off. So I do see there being a bigger mass exodus of people moving from consoles over to PC. I personally, to be completely honest with you guys, I probably never would have went to PC had it not been for this channel. And now I'm grateful that I did, because now, as a console gamer, as your friend, as somebody that's been there and in the trenches and like, yeah, consoles. Like, dude, I was the biggest freaking console fanboy in the world, man. Like, I loved my consoles and there was nothing you could tell me different. I didn't care. But now that I've seen, it's not necessarily seeing the light either. It's just like, wow, dude, the way it always, the only thing that matters is the games. I don't care about what plastic box you use. I don't care if you're a PC gamer. I don't care if you're playing games on a tablet. What matters the most is the games. The games that I play and that I really enjoy are significantly better on the PC platform. I play a lot of racing games. They look incredible. They run flawlessly at very high frame rate, and it feels better to play them. It feels significantly better to play them at 120 frames a second versus 60 frames a second. And I just noticed this the other day. I was making that video and I was trying to get some footage, using a controller on EA Sports WRC on the Xbox Series X versus the PlayStation. And I used the controller on both of them because I was like, all right, I'm just going to use the controller. Just having double the frame rate is so much better on a controller than having 60 frames a second. When you double that frame rate, you like the control gets a lot finer. It's easier to move. You know, you have better control, and it really does. Right there, I mean, it's performance that you can feel, really. And something like a racing game where you need a lot better precision, it is significantly better. It's much better. And then somebody was saying like, oh, I can't believe you drive like that. Well, I mean, on the first part of the PC one, I crashed into the same pole that I crashed in the other one, just so like I was trying to line them up, and you know what, trying to line those games up is just it's impossible to do that. That's why I didn't put out like a full video side by side or anything, because it's just too big of a pain in the butt to do that. I mean, maybe I can, you know, get a good clean run on both of them and then maybe do a video, but man. But performance, higher frame rate is something that you can feel. You might not see it. You know, I hear this argument a lot too. Oh man, I can't tell the difference between 60 and 30. It's not a seeing thing. I mean, obviously, I mean, like, I can see it. I can definitely see the difference between 60 and 30 now. Like, I can easily see that now. I can spot that most of the time, unless the game's got, like, really good motion blur that hides the judder really well. But I can usually see that. But now, not only can I see it, I can feel it. Like, you can feel the difference between 30 and 60 frames a second. Not as much as, say, like, between, you know, 30 and 120 frames a second. Like, you can absolutely feel that. It just feels smooth and it just glides across the screen. It's an incredible feeling, my friends, and you're deluding yourself if you believe that. Well, I'm not going to say you're deluding yourself. Maybe you're just okay with your situation, and that's completely fine. Maybe you're just like, hey man, I'm okay. I paid $500. I got an Xbox. It runs what I want it to play. If a game comes out and I don't want to play it at 30 frames per second, I just won't buy the game. You know, you absolutely are free to have those feelings, like 100%. And I don't blame you for that. Like, I really don't. And actually, I commend you for being able to just enjoy what you have and be grateful, you know, and showing, you know, just, I've never really had this problem with the Xbox guys. You guys are pretty grateful, man. You guys, to me, I feel like Xbox guys are true gamers and just want to have fun, and they don't care. It's, you know, the PlayStation guys that are always about like, oh, the graphics and stuff. Well, my PlayStation buddies, yeah, you're on the wrong place, dude. You need to be on PC, because the PlayStation 5 just isn't cutting it. Period. It's not cutting it. So you need to move over. But, you know, if that's you, and you're okay, and you're competent, and you're comfortable with the console experience, more power to you, man. Like, I'm not really trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to help maybe break down some of those walls so that you understand a little bit better, you know, from an actual console gamer, you know, so that you guys can understand better, you know, like, hey man, maybe I've been telling myself this stuff all this time, you know, because you know, I don't want to go to PC. Like, I feel comfortable in my comfort zone. And I don't want to accept, you know, like this or that. And I just want, because let's put it this way, man. Unless you go out and see PC, like, you're never going to know. So it's easy to dismiss. It's easy to just put in the back of your head and not worry about it. You know, because the consoles, every generation, visuals have gotten better, you know, obviously. So it's like, yeah, man, I'm getting the better thing. But then when, gosh, I don't know, man. If you really care about visuals, guys, it's like, dang, dude. Sometimes, like, especially with these newer games that are starting to, like, get lower resolution and stuff on these consoles, man, you're like, dang, that's massive. The way it, you know, gives you that experience, and you still get high frame rate, man. Woo, man, it's crazy. And I kind of feel like this generation's gonna have a lot of mass exodus from the console space, just because of the fact that we had such a long cross-gen period where we were getting 60 frames and 120 frames and high resolution and stuff like that. I think that is really going to factor in toward the end of this generation, where people are just like, you know what, I'm done, I'm moving, I'm going to PC, I've had it with this. I mean, console sales are down right now. AMD's, you know, thing came out and said they're down like 48% from last year. That's massive, my friends. People's not buying PlayStation 5s. They're not buying Xboxes. Like, nobody cares anymore. Consoles are just too damn expensive for the return that you get out of that experience. It's just gotten too out of hand. You know, you have to pay to play your games online. You have to pay for your saves on PlayStation. Like these $70 games, you want to play them. It's so ridiculous how much console gaming costs now that I don't even know if consoles are going to survive how many more generations. It just kind of feels like it's getting to a point where a lot of people are just leaving, and some of them are probably just leaving gaming altogether. Coupled with all the games and all the DEI and all the wokeness and all of that stuff that people have been cramming down our throats, there's a lot of people just leaving gaming altogether. They're just like, I don't even care anymore. Like, I'm done. I'm done with Hollywood. I'm done with the video games. Like, I'm just done. And so when you put that together, you know, people just leaving gaming altogether, people just leaving the consoles and going over to PC, the exodus, the mass exodus for consoles is getting bigger. I think that if PlayStation and Xbox do continue to produce consoles, I do think that we're going to start seeing console generations to where there's only 100 million on Xbox and PlayStation combined. That's just the way I see it. I mean, this is going to be the biggest exodus from PlayStation this generation because their games are finally going to PC. I don't think that anybody, like everything that I've played this year so far on the PlayStation 5, I much rather would have experienced all of those on the PC. Like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Rise of the Ronin, I mean Stellar Blade, everything. I would have much rather played all those on the PC because the PlayStation 5 experience for those games is, honestly, I said this yesterday, is just kind of radicalizing me toward the PlayStation 5. PlayStation forcing me to play those on PS5 is making me angry at the PlayStation ecosystem, is because I don't want to play those there. I don't. That really sucks to not be able to experience the same quality I've had with PC for games that I absolutely want to play. I absolutely wanted to play Rise of Ronin. I absolutely wanted to play Final Fantasy VII. And to tell you the truth, I got so irritated with that game because it just didn't look that great, and it was starting to get frustrating. Like, I was starting to get mad. I'm like, dude, I have to. I'm like, really, PlayStation? You're gonna force me, one of your customers since the PS1, you're gonna force me to play this stuff on this trash machine when I could have played it on my PC and 100% enjoyed a beautiful looking experience at high frame rate. That's the anger that I'm starting to get for PlayStation, and I'm not angry at Xbox because every Xbox game I buy, I can play on my PC day and date. Day one. Don't have to... and I can switch back between them both. I can play a little bit on the PC, then I can play a little bit on the Xbox. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I get to choose, and that's the absolute best thing that Xbox has ever done. So, alright my friends, if you guys like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.